Across the shattered rings of Saturn, the last explorer made her final promise. The rings of Saturn had once shone like a perfect crown of frozen diamonds. For thousands of years, explorers, scientists, and dreamers had stared at them from afar. They were symbols of beauty, symmetry, and cosmic wonder. But now, they were broken. What had once been a smooth band of glittering ice and rock was now a vast field of drifting debris, spiraling dust storms, and fractured arcs. The shattering had begun 30 years earlier, and no one truly understood why. Some said it was a natural collapse. Others whispered darker theories, ancient structures hidden inside the rings, awakening after eons of silence. But only one person had ever dared to explore them alone. Her name was Elara Wynn, the last explorer. She was not the last because humanity had disappeared. She was the last because she was the only one still willing to go where others refused. After a century of disasters and tragedies across the outer solar system, most exploration programs had ended. Space had become a place for machines, not humans. But Elara had never obeyed limits. She had spent her entire life dreaming of Saturn's rings. As a child, she had glued silver dust to paper circles. As a teenager, she had stolen old star maps and watched them under the moonlight. As an adult, she had trained until she surpassed every record. And now, she had come to fulfill her final mission. Her small ship, the Leonese, drifted slowly through the outer edge of the rings. The hull was covered in scratches from frozen shards. The engines hummed softly, steady and patient, like a heartbeat she had learned to trust. Inside the cockpit, Elara sat with her hands on the controls. Her dark hair floated gently in the low gravity. Her suit was patched in several places, showing years of use. Her eyes, however, were sharp, full of determination and a hint of sadness. "You're quiet today," came a soft voice. It was Argus, the ship's artificial intelligence. It had accompanied her on every mission for 20 years. Its tone was warm, steady, and almost human. "I'm thinking," Elara said, staring at the drifting pieces of ice outside the window. "This may be the last time anyone sees the rings up close." Argus paused before replying. "You don't have to do this alone, Elara." "Yes, I do." There was no argument in her voice. Just a calm acceptance. She had made a promise, long ago, one she had kept hidden inside her heart. And this journey was the final step in fulfilling it. The ship moved deeper into the shattered region. The debris thickened. Chunks of ice larger than houses tumbled silently around them. Dust clouds shimmered like silver fog. The once smooth arcs of the rings were now jagged and unpredictable. Elara adjusted the controls carefully. "Report." "Structural integrity at 87%, Argus said. "Shields stable. Trajectory clear for the next 5,000 meters." "Good." They advanced another few minutes in silence. Then Elara spoke again. "Argus, do you remember why I chose this mission?" "Yes," the AI responded. "You said this was the promise you made to your father." Elara nodded slowly. Her father had been the first explorer of Saturn. He had discovered strange signals hidden beneath the rings, signals that seemed too ordered to be natural. He believed there was something ancient buried inside the icy layers, something waiting to be found. But his last mission had never returned. Elara had been 12. For the next 20 years, she had searched for answers. For the next 30, she had trained, studied, and prepared. When she finally found the fragments of her father's logs, buried deep in forgotten archives, she learned the truth. He had located a hidden chamber inside the rings, a structure that seemed impossible. A structure that was not human. And now, she had come to find it. The Leonese tilted to avoid a drifting slab of darkened ice. The ship slid into a narrow corridor between two large streams of debris. Lights shimmered across Elara's face as she maneuvered carefully. "Approaching the coordinates," Argus said. 2 minutes until arrival." Elara took a slow breath. Her heart beat a little faster, just enough for her to feel the pressure under her ribs. "Activate deep scan," she said. A soft pulse echoed through the ship. Blue waves spread out across the ring fragments, mapping every detail. After several seconds, Argus spoke again, but this time, its voice held an unusual hesitation. "Elara, the scans show something large ahead." "How large?" "Larger than any natural formation in this region." Elara felt a chill run through her body. This was it. This was what her father had found. "Bring us closer," she ordered. As they advanced, the debris slowly parted. Dust cleared. Larger chunks drifted aside. And then Elara saw it. A massive, dark shape curved beneath the swirling ice. Smooth, metallic, and impossibly symmetrical. Half buried under the ruins of the rings, like an ancient beast sleeping beneath a frozen sea. Elara whispered, "It's real." Argus lowered its voice. "This structure matches the signatures from your father's final transmission." Her hands trembled slightly. "Then this is where he made his last stand." They circled the structure. It stretched almost a kilometer long, shaped like a crescent blade, or perhaps a broken wing. Strange markings glowed faintly across its surface, symbols that flickered like dying stars. Elara leaned forward, all filling her eyes. "Record everything." Recording. As they flew around the structure, a faint vibration pulsed through the ship. It felt like a heartbeat. Slow. Heavy. Ancient. Argus spoke again. "Elara, something is activating." Lights rippled across the surface of the structure. The symbols brightened. A low hum traveled through the surrounding debris, pushing the ice fragments farther away. The object was waking up. Elara swallowed. "Prepare the landing module." "You intend to enter?" Argus asked, worried. "Yes. You promised me you would return from this mission. And I promised my father I would finish what he started." She looked at the glowing structure, determination burning inside her. "I have to go." The ship lowered toward a small opening near the center of the structure. The metal surface shifted slightly, as if it were responding to their presence. A soft light guided them inward. Elara stood, fastening her suit. She placed her hand gently on the control panel. "Argus, whatever happens, thank you." "You're not going alone," the AI said. Elara smiled faintly. "No. But the journey inside is mine." The landing bay opened ahead, dark, silent, waiting. Elara took one final breath and stepped into the unknown. The interior of the structure was silent, so silent that Elara felt as if sound itself had been erased. Her boots touched the metallic floor with a soft, muted echo that faded instantly. The chamber was vast and curved, like the inside of a giant hollowed moon. Pale blue lights pulsed along the walls, guiding her deeper. The air was strange, neither cold nor warm, and it carried a faint metallic scent. Her visor readings confirmed something unusual. "Argus," she whispered through her suit's link, "there's breathable oxygen in here." "That is impossible," Argus replied. "There are no records of any biological activity in Saturn's rings. The atmosphere inside the structure must be artificial. Artificial and controlled." She continued forward, her steps slow, cautious. Every few meters, the floor shifted slightly under her weight, adjusting to her presence. It felt as though the structure itself was alive, watching, listening, reacting. Elara reached a large archway. Strange patterns spiraled across it. The moment she touched the smooth surface, a soft hum pulsed through the room. The arch lit up, and the wall behind it folded open like petals of a steel flower. Beyond lay another chamber, smaller, darker, and filled with suspended crystals that floated in midi. Each crystal glowed faintly, filled with swirling symbols she couldn't read. Her breath caught. "What are these?" Argus scanned them. "Unknown matter. They appear to store enormous amounts of information. Possibly a data system." Elara reached toward one. The crystal drifted gently, as if curious. When her finger brushed its surface, a burst of light shot through the room. Suddenly, images flashed across her visor. A vast network of these structures orbiting different worlds. Beams of energy connecting them like veins. And through them, a presence. Ancient. Aware. Elara stumbled back. These are memories." Argus' voice trembled slightly. "Elara, I detected a consciousness inside the data stream." Her heart raced. "A living one." "Not in the way we understand life. But something is aware that you are here." Elara stared at the crystals. Her father's final logs had hinted at this, at something inside the rings that communicated through patterns of energy, not sound or language. But seeing it now, she felt its presence. A watching mind, old as the stars. Elara exhaled and steadied herself. "I need to go deeper. The core must be ahead." She left the chamber and entered a narrow hallway that seemed to stretch endlessly. The walls shifted from smooth curves to sharp angles. The blue lights grew brighter, forming a path under her feet. As she walked, a faint whisper filled her ears. At first she thought it was the wind. But there was no wind here. Then she thought it was her mind playing tricks. But the whisper grew louder, clearer. Elara, Wynn. She froze. Her blood turned cold. Argus, did you hear that? No, the AI answered. I detect no audio signatures. Elara. She clenched her fists. The voice was soft, warm, familiar. Her father's voice. But that was impossible. She turned slowly. No one was there, just the silent, glowing corridor. Elara. The whisper echoed again. This time, she forced herself to breathe. It's a memory, she said quietly. A projection. The structure must be reading my thoughts, or my DNA. Argus responded with concern. Elara, this technology is far beyond anything we understand. It may be dangerous. I know. But she couldn't stop. Not now. She continued down the corridor. The voice faded, leaving only silence again. Her pulse steadied as she reached another door, this one circular and covered in patterns that looked like constellations. The moment she approached, the patterns spun like gears. The door slid open, and inside was a chamber glowing with golden light. At the center floated a spherical object about the size of a human head. It was surrounded by rings of rotating metal, each etched with symbols. The sphere pulsed softly, like a beating heart. Elara stepped closer. This must be the core. Argus analyzed the readings. It's some form of central interface. Possibly an intelligence node. The sphere brightened as she approached, almost as if welcoming her. Elara Wynn. A voice echoed, not in her ears, but in her mind. She gasped and stumbled backward. Argus. I detected nothing, Argus replied urgently. Your neural activity spiked. Are you hurt? Before she could respond, the voice filled her mind again. Calm, ancient, resonant. You carry the echo of the one who came before you. Elara froze. My father. He sought answers, the voice said. He sought connection. What did he find? She whispered. Silence, then a soft reply. He found truth. And truth required sacrifice. Her chest tightened. What does that mean? What happened to him? The golden sphere pulsed, and a beam of light reached out to her, touching her suit. Suddenly, images poured into her mind. Her father entering this very structure. Her father touching the sphere. His memories flashing as the structure read them. His fear turning to wonder. And finally, a blinding light. A merging of consciousness. A final message left behind. Elara staggered, tears burning behind her eyes. He's gone, isn't he? He is not gone, the voice replied gently. He is a part of the memory. A part of us. Elara stood still, stunned. You share his determination, the voice continued. And you share his question. Elara's voice trembled. What question? The question of why the rings were shattered. She swallowed hard. Tell me. The sphere dimmed, then brightened sharply. We shattered them, the voice said. Elara's eyes widened. Why? Why destroy something so beautiful? To protect what lies beneath, the voice replied. A warning was sent. A threat approached. A threat from where? From beyond your worlds, beyond your sun. Elara felt a chill deeper than fear. Something is coming. Yes. And we, those who built the rings, knew it would one day return. Elara stepped closer, her heart pounding. Then tell me what my father learned. Tell me what he wanted me to know. The sphere glowed brighter, filling the chamber with golden light. He made a promise, the voice said softly. Elara froze. A promise that only you can fulfill. Her breath stopped in her chest. What promise? The light intensified, so bright she had to shield her eyes. And the voice whispered. To save your world, you must awaken the last guardian. The chamber shook. The lights flickered. The golden sphere pulsed faster. Elara, Argus warned, energy levels are rising. Something is activating. Elara stood rooted in place, eyes wide, heart hammering. Her father had found this truth. And now, she had inherited his promise. The chamber trembled as the golden sphere pulsed faster, releasing waves of light that rippled across the walls like the beating of some enormous, ancient heart. The metal rings rotating around the sphere sped up until they were nothing but blurred halos of energy. Elara! Argus shouted through her helmet. We need to retreat. The structure's energy is destabilizing.
But Elara didn't move.
She stood frozen, staring at the sphere, her father's last message echoing inside her skull.
Awaken the last guardian. Her hands shook. Her breath caught. What guardian? She whispered.
Where? The voice inside the sphere, calm, ancient, infinite, replied. Buried beneath the rings.
Hidden where the path divides.
Protected by silence. Waiting for the one who carries the promise. Elara stepped closer, her eyes locked on the sphere. If the guardian is so important, why didn't you awaken it yourself? The sphere dimmed, as if saddened.
We are echoes, the voice replied.
We are memories of a civilization long gone.
We can guide, but we cannot act.
Only a living mind can awaken what sleeps.
Elara swallowed hard. And my father tried. Yes, but the cost was too great.
Her throat tightened. Did he die here? There was a pause, long, heavy, filled with the weight of 100 unspoken truths.
No, the voice said finally. He became part of us. His mind lives within the memory network.
His consciousness helped us preserve what little remains.
Tears stung Elara's eyes. She had expected loss. Expected silence.
But knowing her father still existed, in some form, inside this alien network, it filled her with a mixture of comfort and grief.
She reached out a trembling hand toward the sphere. I'm here now, she whispered.
What do I need to do? Before the sphere could answer, a violent shockwave tore through the room.
The floor shook. The lights flickered wildly.
Elara!
Argus shouted.
Energy readings are spiking. The entire structure is reacting to something outside.
Elara steadied herself. Outside? What's happening out there? I'm detecting movement. A massive shift in the debris fields.
Something is disturbing the rings.
Another shockwave hit, nearly knocking her to the ground. The sphere's voice grew urgent. Time is short. The threat draws near. Elara gritted her teeth. What threat?
What's coming?
Awaken the guardian, the voice repeated.
Only then can your world survive. She opened her mouth to demand answers, but the chamber exploded into motion.
The floor split apart.
Metal columns rose around the sphere, encasing it. The golden light faded behind layers of darkened armor. The rotating rings locked into place. Elara, Argus warned, you must evacuate the chamber now.
The door behind her began to close.
She sprinted toward it, leaping over cracks in the floor.
The walls shook violently. Dust sprayed into the air. She reached the door just as it was sealing shut. Come on, she shouted. The door slammed shut in her face.
For a moment, there was nothing but darkness. Elara, stand by. Argus' voice cut through the silence. Activating emergency override.
A thin line of blue light traced across the door.
Mechanisms clicked. The metal plates slowly peeled open, revealing the corridor beyond. Elara stumbled through, breathing hard. Thank you, Argus. We need to leave the structure immediately, the AI insisted. The internal systems are unstable. Elara sprinted down the corridor, her footsteps echoing. Behind her, the lights flickered and dimmed. The floor shuddered with every few steps. As she reached the archway leading back to the chamber of floating crystals, she heard the whisper again. Elara, hurry.
Her father's voice. She pushed forward, heart pounding.
Entering the crystal chamber felt like stepping into a glowing storm. The crystals spun faster, their lights flashing like frantic stars. Elara, structural integrity is collapsing, Argus said. We have seconds, not minutes. She gave one last look at the swirling crystals, fragments of ancient memories, voices, and civilizations long dead. Then she turned and ran. The entrance tunnel loomed ahead. The walls trembled, shedding metallic dust. The blue lights guiding the path flickered like dying fireflies. With a final sprint, Elara reached the exit hatch that led back to the Astra Leones docked inside the structure's outer rim. The hatch slid open, slowly, painfully slow. She squeezed through just as a thunderous crack split the chamber behind her. Launch sequence, she shouted, racing toward her ship. The Astra Leones glowed with soft white lights. Its engines hummed impatiently, already primed for takeoff. She climbed into the cockpit and sealed the airlock. Argus, go. The ship detached from the docking clamps and blasted away from the structure, weaving through drifting debris as the entire colossal construct began to break apart. "Elara," Argus said, "the rings are shifting unnaturally. Something is pushing them outward." Elara pulled up the external display. Her breath caught. A dark shadow moved beneath the rings, long and curved, like a massive claw scraping against the debris fields. "What is that?" she whispered. "I don't know," Argus said. "But it is not stationary. It is rising." Elara felt a chill race through her. The ring fragments trembled, scattering away from the emerging shape. Ice dust spiraled into the void. Metallic shards clattered against one another. Then, from the heart of the shattered rings, something enormous began to surface. A structure, or creature, so massive that its outline disappeared into the darkness. Its surface was covered in faint geometric patterns that glowed like veins of molten light. Elara's voice trembled. "That can't be natural." "It's awakening," Argus said. Elara stared in shock. "Is that the Guardian?" "No," Argus answered, almost whispering. "If the ancient memory was correct, this is the threat." The immense shape unfurled, stretching across kilometers. A deep rumble resonated through space, vibrating the hull of the Astra Leonis. Elara's heartbeat thundered in her chest. "What do we do?" she whispered. Argus responded with a tone she had never heard before. "Fear. We run." Elara gripped the controls. "No. My father didn't send me here to run." She looked up at the colossal shape rising through the shattered rings. "He sent me here to finish what he started," she said. "And to awaken the Guardian." Argus hesitated. "Then we need to find where the Guardian sleeps." Elara nodded, her jaw set. "Take me back into the rings," she said. "Bring up the coordinates from the sphere. We're going to find it." The Astra Leonis turned sharply, engines flaring. Behind them, the massive shadow continued to rise. And Elara Wynn, the last explorer, returned once more into the storm of shattered ice. The Astra Leonis sliced back into the seas of shattered ice. The fragments glimmered like broken stars, swirling in chaotic spirals around Saturn's pale glow. Elara tightened her grip on the controls. Every drifting shard felt like a warning. Every vibration of the hull reminded her how fragile her ship and her mission truly was. "Argus," she said, her voice steady despite her pounding heart, "overlay the coordinates the sphere transmitted." A soft hum filled the cockpit as glowing lines appeared on the front display. A long, curved path highlighted itself through the densest part of the rings. "That can't be right," Elara said, narrowing her eyes. "That area is unstable. No ship has ever passed through it." Argus responded calmly. "The readings are precise. The path divides there." The sphere's voice indicated the Guardian lies beneath the point of division. Elara exhaled slowly. "So we dive into the most dangerous part of the rings." "You said it yourself," Argus replied. "Your father didn't send you here to run." Elara nodded. "Then let's finish this." The ship pushed deeper. The density of particles increased. Ice chunks the size of mountains drifted around them, casting enormous shadows. The Astra Leonis maneuvered through narrow gaps, its engines burning blue trails behind it. As they advanced, Argus spoke again, this time with a quieter tone. "Elara," the presence from the core structure left a final message embedded in its transmission. Elara looked up sharply. "What message?" A faint pause, unusual for an AI. "It said you are the last one who can do this." Her throat tightened. "Because of my father?" "Yes," Argus said softly. "Your DNA matches his. The ancient systems recognize you both. They will only respond to someone carrying that genetic signature." Elara stared at the swirling debris outside. The weight of her mission pressed on her chest like a physical burden. She was the last explorer, the last link to her father, the last chance to awaken the Guardian. She swallowed hard. "Then we don't stop." The deeper they went, the darker the rings became. Dust clouds thickened around them until they blocked the light of the sun, turning the world gray. The ship's headlights cut narrow paths through the swirling haze. "Elara," Argus warned, "something is following us." She glanced at the rear display. A shadow appeared behind them, long, curved, and moving too smoothly to be debris. The threat. The massive being that had emerged when the core structure activated. Elara's breath quickened. "How fast is it moving?" "Faster than us," Argus replied.
And accelerating. She clenched her jaw.
Then we need to reach the divide before it catches us.
She pushed the engines to maximum.
The ship jolted forward, slicing through ice clouds and weaving between drifting boulders of frozen rock.
The shadow behind them grew larger.
Elara, Argus said, if it continues on this path, it will intercept us in 40 seconds.
Elara's hands raced across the controls.
Then we'll make it in 30. The ship darted between two massive slabs of ice that collided behind them with a thunderous, silent crash. Dust exploded in waves. Elara, Argus said, look ahead. The path widened into a massive empty void, like a canyon carved through the rings. The debris thinned suddenly, revealing a swirling vortex of particles spiraling downward.
The divide.
It was more enormous than she expected, like a whirlpool in space, spinning with impossible precision. Elara whispered, that's it.
Argus confirmed. Coordinates match.
The Guardian sleeps below the vortex.
Elara angled the ship toward the glowing spiral. But behind them, the shadow drew closer.
Its surface rippled with streaks of blue light, like veins of energy pulsing through an ancient body. Elara, Argus warned again, we are out of time.
Elara pushed forward. The ship dove into the vortex.
The rings blurred around them, spinning faster and faster until they formed a tunnel of shimmering ice and dust.
The Leonese shook violently.
Warning alarms flashed across the dashboard. Elara, Argus shouted, the gravitational pull is exceeding expected levels.
Hold together, she yelled back.
The vortex tightened, pulling the ship deeper. Outside, spiraling dust twisted into glowing patterns, symbols similar to those inside the alien structure. Argus, she said breathlessly, record everything. Recording.
Suddenly, the vortex collapsed.
The ship was thrown out of the spiral and into a silent, empty region beneath the rings.
A hollow space hidden inside Saturn's orbit. Elara gasped.
Floating before them was a colossal sphere, much larger than the one in the alien structure. It shimmered with faint golden lines, like an ancient heartbeat slowed to near stillness.
The Guardian.
It drifted silently, half asleep, its outer surface covered in markings that pulsed faintly. Elara felt her chest tighten. This is what my father found.
Argus' voice softened.
Its energy readings are immense.
Dormant, but alive. Behind them, the shadow burst into the hollow space.
Its blue veins glowed brighter as it approached the Guardian, drawn like a predator sensing prey. Elara, Argus said urgently, it's going to strike.
Elara shook her head.
Not if I awaken it first. She maneuvered the Leonese toward the Guardian. As they approached, the golden lines brightened, recognizing the ship's presence. Elara, Argus warned, energy fields are intensifying.
Good, she whispered.
It knows I'm here. The surface of the Guardian opened slowly, revealing a glowing inner chamber. Elara's heart raced. Argus, prepare for interface protocol.
Elara, are you sure?
The readings are unstable. Exposure might be lethal.
She closed her eyes for a moment.
My father risked everything to protect this Guardian, she said softly. I have to finish what he started. She grabbed her helmet and locked it into place.
The small docking hatch on the Guardian widened, inviting her in.
Elara, Argus said, voice shaking, I will stay linked. I won't leave you.
She smiled faintly. I know.
Then she stepped out of her ship and into the heart of the Guardian. Inside, golden light swept across her like warm wind. The chamber was circular and alive, every surface pulsed with a slow, quiet rhythm, like breathing. Floating patterns of light drifted around her like gentle sparks.
In the center, a pedestal rose.
On it rested a crystalline core, glowing with faint life. Elara Wynn, a voice whispered in her mind.
She gasped. Her father's voice. But clearer this time. Stronger. Dad, she whispered.
Then another voice joined his, deep, ancient, echoing. Welcome, bearer of the final promise. Elara trembled, tears forming. Please, she said softly, tell me what to do.
The voices spoke as one. Join with the Guardian. Restore its strength.
Only then can you stop what approaches.
She stepped slowly toward the crystalline core.
Golden light wrapped around her hand.
Her father's voice whispered.
I knew you would come. Elara's breath hitched. I'm here, she said. I'm ready.
and she reached for the core. The light exploded. The Guardian awakened. And everything went white. White light swallowed everything. Elara felt herself lifted, not physically, but as if her mind were being drawn into a vast ocean of light. Her senses stretched, expanded, blurred into something both familiar and alien. It was like falling and rising at the same time. Voices echoed around her, blending together like intertwined waves. Her father's voice. The ancient voice from the sphere. Countless others. Whispers of a long-dead civilization. Elara Wynn, bearer of the final promise. Child of the one who came before. Their words surrounded her, lifting her higher. She tried to open her eyes, but there were no eyes. No body. Only awareness. Where am I? She asked, or thought she asked. You stand within the Guardian's mind, the ancient voice replied. Where thought shapes form, and memory shapes reality. And my body? She asked. Safe, her father said gently. The Guardian protects you. She tried to focus, to gather herself. What do I have to do? The threat is coming. The voices moved like currents of light. You must complete the awakening. A burst of golden symbols swirled around her, fragments of knowledge, data, memory. You must guide its consciousness, the ancient voice said. A living mind is required to bridge the final gap. Elara steadied her thoughts. Then show me. Suddenly, the light around her shifted, forming images, memories of the ancient builders. Massive structures drifting near distant stars. Civilizations that harnessed gravity like clay. Guardians, beings of engineered energy and metal, awakening to defend entire worlds. And then, a shadow. The same colossal shape Elara had seen rising from Saturn's rings. It cut through the ancient worlds like a storm. It devoured energy. It silenced stars. It was unstoppable. The builders created the Guardians to halt it. But only one Guardian survived. The one sleeping beneath Saturn. Elara felt a cold terror grip her even in this disembodied state. This thing, she whispered, it destroyed them. The ancient voice replied, mournful yet firm. And it will destroy your world as well, unless the Guardian stands. Her father's voice broke through, warm and steady. Elara, you were born for this. Not because destiny chose you, but because you chose to follow the truth. I believed you would come. I knew you would finish what I could not. She felt emotion ripple through her awareness. Dad, I miss you, she whispered. I know, he said softly. But I am proud of you. And I am here with you now. Tears would have fallen if she still had a body. Help me awaken it, she said. The voices answered together. We will. The light condensed around her, forming a shape, a vast network of golden threads. Each thread hummed with power. This is the Guardian's core consciousness, the ancient voice explained. It is incomplete. Weak. Dormant. It needs a living mind to stabilize it. Elara approached the network, her awareness feeling like a glowing spark drifting toward a sun. What do I do? She asked. Her father's voice answered. Connect. Let it see you. Elara focused her thoughts, letting her emotions surface. Her father's memory. Her determination. Her fear. Her hope. Her promise. The golden threads reached out to her. One touched her awareness, and a flood of sensations washed through her, strength, age, sorrow, and unimaginable power. The Guardian saw her, and accepted her. The golden network began to pulse rapidly. Energy surged through the threads like lightning racing through veins. Elara, the ancient voice said, you must guide it. Bring it fully into consciousness. Shape its awakening. How? She cried. Give it purpose, her father whispered. Elara concentrated. Guardian, awaken to defend, she said. Awaken to protect this world. Awaken to stop the threat rising from the rings. The golden network brightened. The threads thickened. The light around her roared like a rising storm. Elara. August's voice suddenly cut in, a distant echo, like someone shouting from across a canyon. Elara, the shadow creature is approaching the Guardian. You must hurry. She tried to answer, but the Guardian's mind surged again. A deeper voice, massive, resonant, metallic, echoed across the glowing space. Awakening. Elara felt her awareness stretch almost beyond breaking. The power pouring through her was overwhelming. She struggled to maintain control. Elara, her father shouted.
Stay with us. I'm trying.
Golden light erupted around her. The network shook violently.
The Guardian's voice thundered. Threat identified.
Images flashed.
The colossal shadow rising through the hollow space. Its blue veins pulsing like hunger. Its energy field cracking through space. It lunged toward the Guardian.
Elara!
Argus shouted again. Closer now. Impact in 20 seconds. Elara reached desperately to the network, pushing her thoughts into its center.
Guardian! You must stand.
You must fight. The Guardian's consciousness surged again. Awakening.
The threads blazed with light. But then,
a fracture. One of the golden lines split, sending shards of light scattering like broken glass. Elara, the ancient voice boomed. Your mind is stabilizing the awakening, but it is not enough. The Guardian needs more.
What more? She cried. Your core memory, her father said gently.
Your promise.
Elara froze. Her promise.
She remembered the night before she left Earth. The sky dark, her mother silent, her father holding her shoulders firmly. You are stronger than you know, he had whispered. If the truth calls you, follow it. When the moment comes, promise me you won't run.
I promise, she had said. Now, she spoke those words again.
I promised him I wouldn't run, she said, tears filling her awareness. I promised I would finish what he started. The Guardian's network glowed brighter. Her father's voice whispered, Good. Now give that promise to the Guardian. Elara lifted her awareness, pouring every memory, every emotion, every part of herself into the core.
I won't run, she whispered.
I will stand.
And you will stand with me.
The network exploded with golden fire. The fracture sealed.
The Guardian roared.
Full awakening initiated.
The light expanded outward.
And Elara felt herself falling. She gasped as her senses snapped back into her body. She stumbled, collapsing to her knees on the golden chamber floor. Her visor flickered with warning alerts. Elara!
Argus shouted in her helmet. The Guardian is powering up.
You did it.
She forced herself to stand.
The crystalline core in the pedestal glowed like a miniature sun. Outside, the hollow space shook as the Guardian began to move for the first time in millennia. But the shadow creature was already upon them. Elara, Argus said in a trembling voice, the threat is preparing to strike.
Elara steadied herself.
Then let's see what an awakened Guardian can do.
She placed a hand on the glowing core.
Guardian, she whispered, I'm with you. The chamber blazed with light. And the Guardian rose to face the darkness. The inside of the station core felt colder than the rest of the station. Arya moved slowly through the narrow passages, each one humming with faint magnetic currents still active after centuries. The lights flickered as if recognizing a human presence again.
She held her breath.
The air felt charged, almost alive. Kai, floating close behind her, whispered, This place, it feels like time stopped here.
Arya nodded.
Or maybe it's waiting for us. Ahead, the corridor opened into a larger chamber. The floor was covered in broken data tablets, cracked screens, and shredded wires. But at the center stood a single functioning console, the only thing untouched by dust or decay.
Blue light glowed softly from it.
Arya approached, her hands trembling. She reached out, but before touching it, she whispered to herself, Father, if you left something here, I'm ready.
With a deep breath, she pressed her palm against the console. It reacted instantly.
A warm pulse spread through the room, and a holographic image flickered to life, slowly forming into the shape of a man. The edges glowed faintly, and his face, though older, carried the familiar expression that Arya had imagined so many times.
Kai gasped.
Is that? Arya stepped closer, tears filling her eyes. It's him. Her father, Elias Ralston, looked around as if seeing the world again, then focused directly on her. Arya, the hologram said softly.
Her heart stopped.
The machine had recognized her name. Her knees weakened, but she forced herself to stand tall.
I'm here, she whispered. The message left behind.
The hologram continued, its voice calm but filled with weight. If you are seeing this message, then my journey has ended, and yours has begun.
Arya's breath trembled. She knew this wasn't him alive.
This was a recording, yet it felt like he was speaking directly to her soul. I came to Saturn to study something extraordinary, he continued. An intelligence hidden within the rings.
Not alien, but ancient.
Not alive, but aware.
Kai glanced at Arya nervously.
The same thing that almost destroyed the drones.
Elias continued, I called it the harmonic mind. It is the reason the rings shatter and reform, the reason strange signals echo inside them. And it is dying. Arya frowned.
Dying?
Her father nodded as if he heard her. I stayed here to help it survive. But I couldn't finish the work. Someone else has to continue it.
Someone who carries both curiosity and compassion.
His voice softened.
Someone like you, Arya.
Her hands curled into fists.
Father, what did you want me to do?
As if answering her directly, the hologram leaned forward. To save the harmonic mind, you must go to the resonance chamber. It lies beneath the station. Connect the core interface to your ship. It will guide you. Kai floated closer to her side. We can do that.
Right.
But the next words froze the air around them.
Arya, if you continue, you may never come home.
Her stomach tightened. The hologram continued, voice heavy with regret. I am sorry. I left you when you needed me most. I cannot ask you to follow me, but I trust you to choose your path.
Whatever choice you make, know that I am proud of you.
The hologram faded. The light on the console dimmed. The room fell silent. The truth that broke her.
Arya stood frozen, unable to breathe.
4 years, she had carried hope that her father was alive somewhere, lost or trapped. She had built her life on that hope. But now, it was over. Kai touched her arm gently. Arya,
I'm so sorry.
Her voice cracked as she whispered. He knew he wasn't coming back.
He left this message, knowing I would find it someday.
She wiped her tears, but they kept falling. I spent my whole life searching for him, she said quietly.
But he was already gone.
Kai didn't speak.
He simply floated beside her, offering silent support.
Arya placed one hand on the console where the hologram had appeared. She closed her eyes, remembering the warmth of her father's voice. Then, with a steady breath, she whispered, I hear you, Father. And I'll finish what you started. The core begins to awaken. As soon as she spoke those words, the console emitted a soft chime. Lights around the chamber slowly brightened. A circular hatch in the floor slid open, revealing a winding staircase that descended deep below the station. Kai's eyes widened.
That wasn't open before.
Arya wiped her face and nodded firmly. The station responded.
It accepted my promise.
Kai swallowed nervously.
Are you sure about this? He said you might never return.
Arya looked toward the dark staircase. Her father had made his promise to protect the harmonic mind. Now she had made hers.
Kai, she said gently, you don't have to follow me. I can do this alone.
He floated forward immediately.
You saved me from being crushed in the rings. I'm not leaving you now.
A faint smile returned to her face. Thank you. Together, they moved toward the staircase. Arya glanced back once more at the console, imagining her father standing there, giving her courage. Then she began the descent. The resonance chamber. The deeper they went, the stronger the vibrations became. The walls hummed with energy. The air shimmered with faint particles of light, like floating dust made of sound.
Kai whispered, it feels like the station is alive.
Arya nodded.
Maybe, in a way, it is.
When they reached the bottom, the staircase opened into an enormous spherical chamber. At the center hovered a glowing crystal construct, shifting, turning, pulsing with soft multicolored waves. It looked like a heart made of light, suspended by invisible threads. Arya inhaled sharply. This must be the core. Kai's voice trembled.
It's beautiful.
Arya floated toward it slowly, feeling warmth radiating from the structure. It pulsed faster as she approached, as if reacting to her presence. She extended a hand. The moment her fingers touched the glowing surface, a wave of energy rippled through the chamber. Images flashed through her mind. The rings forming, bending, breaking. A consciousness woven through billions of particles. A soundless cry for help lasting centuries. Arya gasped and stumbled back. Kai caught her. Arya.
What happened?
She steadied herself. I felt its memories. It's scared.
It's fading.
Kai looked at the crystal. How do we help it? Arya turned her gaze upward. We connect the core to my ship.
That's what my father meant.
And then? Kai asked. Arya hesitated.
Then the harmonic mind merges with me.
Kai's eyes widened.
Arya, that could.
I know.
Your father didn't finish it because it was too dangerous.
I know.
You might lose yourself.
Arya closed her eyes. I know. The final decision.
She floated toward the core again, her voice steady. But if I don't do this, Saturn's rings will collapse forever. Millions of years of history will vanish. And whatever intelligence lives inside them will die.
Kai shook his head.
Arya, you said you didn't want to be the last explorer. You still have a life ahead.
She placed a gentle hand on his shoulder.
Maybe this is what I'm meant to do.
Kai grabbed her wrist. No. This can't be your ending.
Arya's voice softened. It's not an ending, it's a promise.
She looked up at the glowing core. To my father. To the rings. To the silence he left behind.
The chamber grew brighter as Arya floated toward the harmonic core. The shifting lights reflected in her eyes, turning them into shimmering circles of color. Kai watched her, fear and admiration battling inside him. He whispered, Arya, if you do this, you won't be the same.
She didn't look back.
Maybe that's the point. The core pulsed like a heartbeat made of starlight. When Arya held out her hand, it responded, extending thin, glowing threads that wrapped gently around her fingers. A soft hum filled the room. Then the harmonic mind spoke for the first time. Not aloud, not in a voice, but inside her thoughts. You came, daughter of the one who listened. Will you complete what he began? Arya's breath trembled. I will. The threads wrapped further, traveling up her arm, warm and weightless. They didn't hurt, but they filled her chest with a rising pressure, like the rings themselves were being poured straight into her veins. Kai hovered forward urgently. Arya, are you okay? She nodded, though her face had gone pale. It's overwhelming, but it's not trying to control me. The harmonic mind whispered again, a calm echo in her thoughts. We do not take. We share. We survive together, or we fade alone. She closed her eyes, letting the energy spread across her shoulders, down her spine, into her heartbeat. Memories continued flashing. Saturn forming. Ice gathering into rings. Light traveling across space. Silence carrying knowledge older than humanity. Kai looked between her and the core, fear turning into helplessness. If you merge with it, will you still be you? Arya opened her eyes. I'll still be Arya, she whispered. But I'll be more than just me. As the merging continued, the entire resonance chamber vibrated. Panels along the walls opened like petals, releasing streams of light that joined the core. Kai steadied himself. This place is waking up. Arya felt it too. The light threads pulsed faster, their warmth pushing deeper into her thoughts. She whispered, It's afraid, it doesn't want to die. Kai answered, Then we save it. Together. Arya turned to him, her eyes glowing faintly from the merging. Kai, I need you to go back to the ship. He stared at her in shock. No. You said yourself, this isn't something to do alone. I'm not doing it alone, she said, placing a glowing hand on his shoulder. You'll connect the core link. Only you can stabilize the ship systems once I'm inside the core. Kai hesitated, torn between loyalty and fear. What if something happens while I'm gone? Arya smiled softly. Then trust me to handle it. He swallowed hard, then nodded. I'll come back for you. She nodded. I know. Kai hesitated one last moment before pushing off the floor and ascending the staircase. The moment he left, the chamber dimmed slightly as though it recognized his absence. Arya floated directly in front of the core. She whispered, I'm ready. The core opened. Its light unfolded like the petals of a luminous flower, revealing a swirling sphere inside, a mind made of sound, memory, and stardust. It reached toward Arya gently, waiting for her decision. Arya pressed both hands against it. Instantly, a surge of energy shot through her. She gasped. Her body jerked. Her vision blurred. Her heart pounded with the rhythm of the rings. Her father's voice echoed faintly in her mind. Arya, whatever choice you make, I am proud of you. Her eyes filled with tears as she whispered, I'm finishing it for you. The core responded with a pulse of warmth. We are ready. Do not fear. We will guide each other. Arya took a trembling breath. Then the merging began in full. Light swallowed her from every direction. She felt herself stretching beyond her physical form, her thoughts expanding outward into the chamber, then upward through the station. She felt the rings. Felt the countless particles dancing in orbit. Felt the subtle music of gravitational waves. She gasped as her mind expanded beyond anything she had known. This is what my father felt, she whispered. And she finally understood. He hadn't stayed because he was trapped. He had stayed because he couldn't abandon a dying mind. Now, he was asking her to help it live. Meanwhile, Kai rushed through the corridors of the station, heart hammering. The lights flickered wildly as the station awakened. The walls pulsed with deep, rhythmic energy. He spoke breathlessly into the communicator. Aria, I'm almost to the ship. Her reply was faint, distant, as if echoing through water. Kai, hurry. He didn't like the sound of her voice. When he reached the docking bay, he climbed aboard their small exploration ship, the Dawnspire. Immediately he activated the core link interface. Panels unfolded around him. A holographic display flickered to life, showing a glowing map of energy streams leading into the resonance chamber. Kai whispered, Okay. I just follow the pattern you showed me. The ship hummed as he connected its systems. For a moment, everything stabilized. Then alarms began flashing. Power spike. Kai shouted. Aria, the core is overloading. Her voice came through again, weaker this time. It's not overloading, she whispered. It's transforming. Kai clenched his fists. I don't like the sound of that. Back in the chamber, Aria floated motionless, suspended in the core's glowing threads. Her eyes glowed brighter now, almost white with energy. Her heartbeat synced with the rhythm of Saturn's rings. Her mind synced with the ancient intelligence. Her voice became layered, hers and something older. Kai, hold the connection, she said calmly. I'm trying, he replied, sweat on his forehead. But Aria, you're changing. Aria looked down at her hands glowing like molten ice. She felt no fear. I'm not changing, she whispered. I'm remembering. The core pulsed again. One more step, it whispered in her mind. Complete the merge. Let us survive together. Aria closed her eyes. She thought of her father. She thought of the life she had lived. She thought of the promise she had made. Then she whispered, I'm ready. And the core opened completely. Light engulfed her. Her body dissolved into it like dust into starlight. Her consciousness bloomed outward, merging with the harmonic mind. Light filled the resonance chamber until every surface glowed like a small sun. Aria's body, once human, warm, fragile, became a silhouette of shimmering particles. She felt herself expand, stretch, and rise beyond the limits of bone and breath. The harmonic mind wrapped around her gently. Your father did not fear us. Do not fear what you are becoming. Aria didn't answer with words. She answered with acceptance. Her thoughts opened like 1,000 windows at once. She saw Saturn's icy rings moving in slow, perfect arcs. She felt the gravitational songs humming through them. She sensed memories older than humanity drifting through each particle, stories carried by frozen dust. And then she felt Kai. Far above, racing to stabilize the ship. Kai's fingers flew across the controls inside the Dawnspire, trying to manage the rising energy. The interface pulsed violently. He shouted into the communicator. Aria, talk to me. Are you alive? Only static replied. Then, a whisper. But it wasn't her voice alone. It was layered, hers and the harmonic mind together, like two notes blending into one chord. Kai. He froze. Aria? Her voice echoed softly, as if carried by distant winds. I'm here. Kai's breath shook. Aria, what happened to you? What are you now? A pause. Then she answered gently. I am part of the rings. And they are part of me. Kai slammed his fist lightly on the console. No, Aria, you said you wouldn't let it take you. It didn't take me, she whispered, calm and steady. I chose this. Tears burned in his eyes. But I can't lose you. A warmth filled the docking bay as station lights shifted from pale blue to gold. The air vibrated with a soft hum, like a lullaby played on invisible strings. Aria's voice returned. You haven't lost me, Kai. I'm still me. I just exist differently now. Kai closed his eyes. I should have stopped you. No, she said firmly. You helped me finish my father's work.
Outside the station, the shattered fragments of Saturn's rings, once chaotic and unstable, began to glow. They moved gently, slowly, as if guided by a new conductor. Inside the chamber, Arya's awareness spread like light touching every particle. The harmonic mind whispered alongside her thoughts. Together, restore what was broken. Keep the promise. Arya extended her consciousness outward. She felt the billions of fragments. She felt their fractures. She felt the ancient pain of a fading intelligence. She reached into them with her new form, gentle, patient. A soft wave of energy flowed outward. Slowly, beautifully, the shattered rings began to realign. Cracks closed. Paths stabilized. The chaos became harmony again. Kai watched the view from the ship's window, speechless. The rings were coming back to life, like a wounded giant finally healing. Arya, you're doing this. Her voice brushed his thoughts like a warm breeze. Yes. Kai floated back to the central console, wiping his eyes. Arya, will I ever see you again? Her voice was quiet, soft, almost tangible. You're seeing me right now, just not in the old way. That's not the same, he whispered. A faint, shimmering silhouette appeared in front of him. Arya's face formed from particles of light. She smiled softly. It wasn't a projection. It wasn't a memory. It was her. Kai, she said gently, thank you for staying with me until the end. He shook his head. This isn't the end. Her light form grew brighter for a moment. No, she agreed. It's a beginning. Kai reached out slowly, but his hand passed through her glowing form. Still, he felt a small warmth, like touching sunlight. Will you be trapped here? He asked. Not trapped, she said with a calm certainty. Connected. The rings and I are one now. I can guide them, protect them, and I can watch over you too. He laughed weakly. That sounds like you. She tilted her head, the way she always did when teasing him. Someone has to keep you out of trouble. The glowing silhouette began to fade. Kai whispered, Arya, what was the promise you made? Her fading voice replied, to my father, to myself, and to the stars. I promised to make sure the rings would never fall silent again. The silhouette vanished. The chamber dimmed. But outside, the rings shone brighter than ever, glowing with a gentle pulse, like a heartbeat echoing across space. Kai stood in the quiet docking bay of the ancient station, watching the new harmony settle across Saturn's orbit. He whispered into the stillness, Goodbye, Arya. But the whisper that returned through the humming rings said, Not goodbye. I'm here. Always. Months later, observers from every colony in the solar system noticed a strange phenomenon. Saturn's rings sang. It was faint, only heard through specialized instruments, but it was undeniably real. A soft, repeating harmonic pattern. Some called it a cosmic heartbeat. Some called it an anomaly. Some called it a miracle. Only one person knew the truth. Kai stood aboard the dawn spire, listening to the song that echoed through the rings. He closed his eyes as the gentle notes filled the cabin. It's her, he whispered. Arya was there. Not lost. Not gone. But everywhere the rings existed. The last explorer had kept her final promise. And the universe would remember her song for centuries.